Hey everybody, thanks for joining us here at 6 a.m. on your Tuesday. I'm Grace McKenna.
And I'm Jim Stratman. Thanks for joining us on WHAS 11 and WHAS 11 Plus. Happy to be back after my little break.
Jim had a lovely vacation. The rest of us were here. But Matt thinks things weren't too bad, haven't been too bad. As
makes it sound like things were horrible here.
Well, and you know what?
It wasn't the beach, though.
It wasn't the beach, but Jim definitely did bring with him some beach-like weather, I'd say for sure. Minus the humidity, but the heat still certainly will be around as we go throughout the remainder of these next upcoming afternoons. Temperatures currently into the mid-60s right now in downtown Louisville. We're at 60 degrees there in Bowman Field. I wouldn't be surprised if we still drop a degree or two just before sunrise here in the next hour or so, but the clear skies and the north wind still continuing with us. Temperatures currently ranging into those lower 60s for you folks near Seymour, 63 in Paoli, 60 in Jasper, 60 for you folks near Elizabethtown, and 60 for you guys near Shelbyville. Satellite and radar continuing to stay quiet and dry for us this morning. You'll notice that we're not tracking any incoming clouds or rain showers. It's still staying under a very quiet and dry trend that's going to be lasting with us. Hopping on the school bus soon, those temperatures ranging into the lower 60s. On the way home, we'll be warming up with that sunshine keeping us into the mid 80s with a steady sunny pattern still lasting all throughout the next several hours into our Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday night. We continue to stay quiet and dry. We'll start Wednesday morning off with temperatures into the lower 60s. That's an update on your weather details. We'll have more about that coming up here in a few short minutes. Here's an update on traffic this morning. We do have a slow spot to report on here that just occurred a few moments ago. This is on the Waterson near I-65. The right-hand shoulder is blocked due to a stalled vehicle on I-65 southbound right after exit 131B. Keep that in mind if that's part of your commute. Another slow spot that we have just occurred as well. The right-hand shoulder blocked due to a stalled vehicle on I-64 westbound at exit 4 on Roy Wilkins Avenue. Keep that in mind also. Jim, Grace?
All right, Matt, thank you. Our top story this morning, another shooting in Louisville, leaving 2 men dead and a neighborhood in shock.
Louisville Metro Police saying that shots rang out around 10:15 yesterday morning out on Napa Valley Drive in the Okolona neighborhood. Officers found 2 men killed inside of an apartment, both dying from apparent gunshot wounds. Witnesses told the police that they saw several people running from that scene. One of the women who lives nearby says the violence has shaken her entire community.
Came running out. Yeah, the kids next door like scared. The neighbors, my neighbor, my elderly neighbor, like they shouldn't have to worry about that. Now they can't even go back in their home. They're scared to go home.
Detectives with the LMPD Homicide Unit are now investigating that shooting. If you have any information, you're urged to call the anonymous tip line at 574-LMPD.
This morning, 16 people are out of their homes after a fire at an apartment complex in Middletown. It started around 1 yesterday afternoon at the Vines at Shelby Crossing, which is formerly La Fontenay Apartments on Shelbyville Road.
That's right. Multiple units got called out to the scene within minutes of that first 911 call. Crews were able to put out the visible fire, but discovered that that fire had already spread to several different apartment units through connecting walls.
This was a very challenging incident. This was a very challenging fire. Our firefighters and our J-Town Fire Department did an excellent job given the challenging conditions that the building construction presented.
It took just under an hour to get control, and Anchorage Middletown Fire and EMS says the fire appeared to be electrical. 4 apartments closest to it were damaged significantly, and 4 others only had smoke damage. There were no injuries, and the American Red Cross is helping the folks who were displaced.
This morning, a man is in jail after he allegedly inappropriately touched a young girl near a Louisville private school. 27-year-old Jacob Burnett is charged with first-degree sexual abuse. Police say that on September 18th, a young girl was assaulted while she was waiting to be picked up from a Louisville private school. Now, the child was able to capture some video of the man who inappropriately touched her before running away. According to the LMPD, Burnett's arrest came after a tip from somebody in the community. The LMPD Sergeant Matt Sanders said in a statement, quote, "We want to thank the individual who came forward with the tip that led to this arrest. Your courage and commitment to protecting our community made a difference." Burnett is expected to be arraigned in court tomorrow morning. Well, watch out, watch your speed, get off of that gas pedal just a little bit as you're going through some construction zones here in Kentucky.
Yeah, the state's first speed cameras are being installed in work zones to protect road crews. WHAS11's Jose Alonso and photojournalist Aspen Hester tell us how this will affect your drive soon in Shelby County.
You may want to keep an eye out for these warning signs and speedometer while driving across Kentucky interstates like I-64 east of Louisville.
Whenever they're up, I'm sure they have signs out, but we'll see them.
Pretty soon, cameras will be watching you.
A growing country town. It's a little congested. I think it's better than patrol officers getting out there blocking the roads and stuff.
The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet says a new law is allowing the installment of these automated speed enforcement devices, some of which are being placed on about a 10-mile stretch of construction east and west of I-64 around the Shelbyville exit.
There's parameters set up in the radar technology that will only flag or put a red block around the vehicles doing more than 10 miles an hour over the speed limit.
Executive Director of the Kentucky Association of Highway Contractors, Chad LaRue, says this focuses on the safety of construction crews and drivers across the state.
While our employees are exposed to those work zones on a day-to-day basis, the injuries and fatality rates predominantly impact the driving public. If you are cited, it will be a $500 ticket before court costs. So once again, our emphasis is not to write those tickets, it's not to collect the money, but the money is to be a deterrent.
KYTC wants to emphasize this isn't a camera that's going to send you a speeding ticket later on in the mail. Rather, an on-duty law enforcement officer will utilize this technology to ensure no one is trying to speed through a work zone.
It's all right with me. You know, that you need to be careful of those guys out there. Just trying to do their job, that you don't have an accident.
So if you spot construction warning signs, give these workers a break because you may end up paying for it. In Shelby County, Jose Alonso, WHAS 11 on your side.
KYTC also says the system won't be enforced until October, so drivers have time to adjust. The devices will also roll out at work zones in Lawrence, Martin, Fayette, Laurel, and Whitley counties. More locations may be added later this year.
The Louisville Free Public Library has a brand new director, a permanent director. Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg making that announcement yesterday, saying that Heather Lowe is the new executive director of the library system. She'll be replacing Barbara Sexton Smith, who has held the interim position since April. Now, Lowe brings with her more than 16 years of library and archive experience. For the last 11 years, Lowe has served in a variety of leadership roles down at the Dallas Public Library, including most recently as their interim director. She holds a master's in library and information science from UCLA, as well as a master's in fine arts from Cranbrook Academy of Art.
A major milestone at Buffalo Trace. The distillery just celebrated its 9 millionth barrel of bourbon since Prohibition. Filled on August 13th, it comes less than 3 years after the 8 millionth barrel in 2022. Buffalo Trace highlighted the time difference between reaching the milestone, since it took 27 years to go from 5 to 6 million barrels. At an event Monday, Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman spoke about the impact Buffalo Trace has had on the bourbon industry.
Buffalo Trace is really a great intersection of tradition and innovation. They've kept up with the traditions that they've had all along, but also they've been able to innovate to produce faster and more efficiently, and that's really the name of the game these days.
Buffalo Trace says the barrel filling signals a full recovery after April's historic flooding and comes on the heels of the distillery's $1.2 billion expansion project.